Okay, so here we go, just to catch up. So we've got our bodies all done, and these were our measurements for the body of the love seat. And we're all done with that. As you see on the bottom, I have the cushion and the skirt, the things that are left to be cut out. So we'll get rid of this. And we're going to start the cushion. And we're going to do the cushion, we're going to mark the cushion the same way we mark the body. Slash up and down, slash side to side. And so the cushion has these components. It has a top and a bottom. Same measurement. Right? It has a boxing. It has a zipper. And this particular cushion has welt. Two of them. One on the bottom, one on the top. So we're gonna measure this now and fill in these measurements. So the first thing I'm going to do is measure the deck of the sofa, the love seat. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut, these are 2 inches, we're going to cut these pieces 2 inches larger. So front to back measurement is actually 22, we're going to cut it 24. Side to side, furthest measurement is 45, so we're going to cut it 47. 24 by 47. 24 by 47. You know, I get in the habit of double checking my measurements. I'm just going to quickly do that right now. I'd advise you all to do that same thing. 22 plus 2, 45 plus 2, 47. Okay, so I'm going to measure my boxing. Usually standard is 4.5 inches cut. So that allows 1/2 inch on each side, and when you have a pipe cushion, that adds to 1/4 inch on each side, so that's 1/2 inch. So the standard in the industry is 4.5 inches cut. So I'm just going to put the 4.5, which this cushion will be, 4.5, and that's an exact. I'm just going to put exact down here. So when you know, in the other cuts that we had on the body, we just kind of slid our pair of scissors along, and we weren't really paying attention. On the boxing and on the cushion top and bottom and on the zipper, you really need to pay attention and square up your material now at this point. And same thing with the skirt. So 4.5 inches is the boxing, and from the zipper end to zipper end, we're going to go all the way around the cushion. I'm going to go to the halfway, well, we'll just measure all the way around. So 60 plus 23, that's 83, we'll give it another inch or two, 85 boxing. And now the zipper, the formula for the zipper, this is all you have to remember on a zipper, no matter how big the boxing is. Some boxings are bigger, like 6-inch boxings I've seen in the manufactured stuff today. So the formula to cut 2 parts, you need two parts of the zipper, the top and the bottom, okay? So the formula is whatever the zipper width is, plus an inch and a half divided by 2. So it's 4.5 plus 1.5, that's 6, divided by 2, that's 3 inches. That's 3 inches. Each one of these is 3 inches wide. So I'm going to put 3, and then, so that's all about salvages. You know, that's it. The salvages work out, and it will match up to your boxing once the zip is on there and you've got your 1/2 inch seam top and bottom. So let's measure let's measure the zipper. So the zipper is 60 inches. Now I like to, because some of the older furniture, some of the good furniture has copper zippers. This one's a nice nylon zipper. So sometimes if it's easy to take off, I'll reuse it, as long as the flange is okay. So on the welting, now we have 2 pieces of welting to go all the way around. What we want to do is measure, and we can see where they have it pieced on the back there. Just measure all the way around. We have 60 plus, we're going to go 66 plus 66, 100, and let's just make sure. 66 plus 66, that's 12, 6, 7, 13, 132. I'm going to go 140 inches. I'm giving myself an extra 8 inches. 6 to 8 inches is good, because you need to piece your piping. So oversize the piping. Let's better to have it, the worst thing is to have a piping that you sew all the way around the cushion and then be an inch short and you can't piece it and you gotta start all over again. It doesn't look good to piece something near where it has to be pieced in the back. So always make sure you got extra length on your welting. So the welting, depending on the fabric, usually is about 2 inches. So we had, we said 100 and, we're going to go 140 inches, go 140, and then by 2 inches wide. We need also, don't forget our tie downs. So we have 2 tie downs, just as a reference. Usually what those are, they're 6 inches, let's say 7 inches high, and then 2 inches wide. And those are going to get seamed down and then incorporated into our boxing with the clip. Okay? So let's get going on cutting. We'll put the cushion aside. We'll put the cushion on, the old cushion on top of the sofa for now. Let's unroll this. We're going to cut our first 47 by 24. I already measured. I have a piece left over from the other side that's 25. Perfect. I'll go 47 this way. I'll mark that right now. Grab my scissors. Cut this. This is our cushion. We call this our cushion top. Okay? I'm going to fold this back right front. Cushion top. Why not? As much description as possible sometimes. So I'm just going to put that aside. Let's cut the other one for the bottom. I'm just going to continue the 25 this way because why cut it down, right? Cut it a little oversized. 47. 47. Flip it up. Right front, cushion, bottom. Okay? Throw that over here. I'm going to cut all the pieces first before we start cutting the cushion down. So it's oversized now. We're going to have to go back to the love seat to cut it aside, and I'll show you how to do that in a minute. Okay, so now we've got, let's cross that out, top and bottom. We've got boxing. We want 85 inches by 4.5. So we're going to go 85. 85. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut this off a little bit. I'm just going to make my cut this way. Trying to make it easy for myself and take this roll out so we can get at it easier. I wanted to show you something on this. You've got a salvage here, so the salvage should be cut off first. So we're going to cut the salvage, and we're going to try to be really a good cut here. Okay, we want this square. You don't necessarily want the salvage the part of our boxing. I'm really focused. Notice I'm not sliding I'm taking little cuts now because I want this to be really square. Okay, so that's that. Now, I'll show you a little trick here. So 4.5 inches is what our cut is. So I'm going to go 4.5 inches. Now I'm wondering, yeah, I think I can, I know my back's to the camera, yeah, but I can't help that because I really need to focus here. So I think I can go by the line. There's a line here that I'm going to go by. I'm training my eye in front of the scissor blade, and I'm using the line of the fabric. It's always good. If you can use the line of the fabric, That's the best, that's the best. That's the best square that you're gonna get. Instead of drawing out your chalk line, I'm picking up a very light, very faint line. It's not the predominant line that's going up and down here, but there is a side-to-side line that I'm seeing. I like that, and I'm using that. Now I know that this is 4.5 exact. So what I'm going to do is mark this top, boxing, top. Throw that over there, and then erase that. We got that cut. Next is the zipper. 60 inches by 3. So we're going to go 60, 60, and down here, and I'm going to mark 3 inches. I need 2 of these, remember, 3 and 3. And I'm going to use my line to go right across. Here we go. Now, if you're not comfortable with that, you can chalk it out. Or if you don't have a fabric that you can see the line, you can chalk it out. You have to chalk it out. Zipper, I got one zipper top. Okay, I'm going to put this in a separate place. Put that zipper there. Let's go this way. Another cut here. There we go. Other side of my zipper. That over there. Okay, we got that. Now the next thing is the piping, welting, or cording, whatever part of the country you're from. I go back and forth from welting to cording and piping, do all 3 because actually I started working with designers. Designers have all different terms. So, you have 3 designers you're working, they have 3 different terms for the same thing. So I guess you could say I'm multilingual, at least when it comes to upholstery. So on the piping, if I can get a bias cut, I still have to get my skirt. I have to keep that in mind. So I don't have as much fabric here as I think I do, or that I can be liberal with and get a bias cut. That's okay because I think this fabric would look perfectly fine a straight cut. I think that it's not a predominant stripe enough to make to give me a really twirled look. So I'm going to cut it straight. I'm making that decision as we go along. Your client is going to let you make these decisions. Going to make one adjustment here. I'm going to kind of like go up and square it up a little bit as I cut. You'll see. But I'm going to see if this piece is big enough to go all the way around. I'm not so sure without piecing. It'd be great if I can get one cut on this. So let's look at our welt. Our welting's 140 inches. So let's see if we've got 140 inches. 70. There's 123. There's 140. We got it. Great. I'm just going to make a little reference there. That's the end of my piping. I'm going to come this way now. Ready. You always have to be saving fabric if you've got other things you have to cut out. Remember that. You can't be too liberal on your fabric unless you knew, let's say this wasn't having a skirt, then I might have changed and made the piping on the bias. Bias cuts though take up a lot of fabric, remember that. So here we go, here's one. stop right there. I'm going to get the other one started. Cutting this, notice I'm not chalking this out. I'm going by my eye here. And on the piping, you don't have to be perfect. Don't have to be perfect. So that kind of, but for those who are a little nervous, you can chalk it out. I guess I'm doing it the professional way here. So notice how I'm slightly angling just to try, I'm trying to save fabric here. Instead of cutting straight across and then having a piece I can't use, I can make these little small adjustments and it's not going to affect the way the piping looks at all. Okay, so here we go. That's just a good tip actually. I'm glad we had that to show you. Always be stingy with cutting fabric, always. Because today, you know, you're competitive, professional upholsterers are competitive with one another as far as how much yardage they tell people. You know, if you're an upholsterer and you're charging extra yardage, you're being liberal in your estimates, and somebody else isn't, you could lose the job. So we're all competitive, so therefore we're tight with the fabric, so you have to be tight with your measurements and, you know, just make sure that you plan ahead. That's why we mark everything out like I showed you. Okay, so there's one. I'm not even going to cut them. I'll go back and cut the salvage on that, I think. But that's one piping. I'm just going to put this separate over here for now, just to keep it organized. Okay, I'm going to cut the other one now. Now, because I took this off the roll, I'm going to do something right now. So there's the piping. You got the clips to cut out in a minute, but I just want, before I forget, to show you, every time you take the roll off, you lose the direction sometimes of the fabric. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take and mark this top on the back, top of the fabric, so that when I do my skirt, I know. So now this is for my skirt. I'm going to fold this up. Well, let's take the cut. We need to get our clips, which is just a small piece of fabric. As a matter of fact, I'm looking for any scrap. It's just so small. This is all we need right here. It's a 2-inch piece. I think we said 2 by 6. That's about 2 by 6. This is for our clips. Okay? So what we're going to do right now, I'm going to go back to the cushion. I'm going to cut the clips and grab the rings. And I'm just going to put these together somewhere, okay? The rings with these ties, somewhere they don't get lost because they're kind of small. I'm going to put them over here for now, near the sewing machine. Okay, and now I'm going to fold up the rest of this. This is for our skirt onto the machine. Okay, so we're going to start our zipper first. So we're going to have to make a small adjustment because I can't reuse the old zipper because it's on there with nylon thread and it doesn't come off easy, and we don't want to jeopardize the flange. These flanges on the zipper are very important, so we're going to use a new zipper. But our new zippers are a little bit smaller, so we're going to have to add boxing onto the, and I'll show you how to do that, to add boxing. It's just another piece of boxing that we're going to piece in. And you won't see it because it's on the interior of the cushion. Okay, so now we have our zipper. We reference the top, and you can start with the top if you want, like so. Actually, it doesn't really matter too much, but I'm going to show you how to do it. Let's say you had a velvet. It would matter on a velvet. So I'm going to start you off right. So I have my zipper top. I'm going to have the zipper top here, and I'm going to work down here, face down on the table, on the sewing machine. We've got about a 2.5 thread width, so that's good. We're taking about 1/2 inch or 1/2 inch flange, and we're going to start on our zipper side, our zipper slide side, and we're going to face down with that also. Okay, we're going to put our foot is up. We're going to lower our foot. We're going to start sewing it, you know, and you can get it started by going back like so. Okay, and now I will tell you that the trick to this is making sure that your salvage is peeking through the other side. That way you know you're stitching it. Sometimes when you lose that and you miss this couple of stitches, it affects the whole zipper, so be careful of that. I'm going to go right along. Okay. Okay, then when I get to the bottom here, I'm just gonna, I cut my zippers a little longer because we thought we were going to use that nylon flint zipper, but it didn't work, the old zipper. So I'm going to cut this off. That's pretty much what we have to make up in the boxing, what we just cut off. Okay. So sometimes, you know, the problem solving, right? Upholsterers are supposed to be really good problem solvers, and I can tell you that during the course of the day, I'm probably faced with 100 such problems. And you need to adjust to those. So I like the way this came out. It's got a nice, you can see, we're going to put the other one on and it's going to hide the zipper. Okay, so on the other one we're going to reference the top. Want it all going in the same direction, in other words. Okay, got the top there. Now this one here, you have to start with this one, okay, with the zipper, bottom part of the zipper this way. Okay, we're going to fold it over. You're always working face down on the zipper, right? Get it started, get a little bit back on it. Okay, I like this fabric. There we go. I'm actually folding this and butting it into the other flange. Sometimes heavier fabrics hide the zipper slide better. It's the heavier fabric, so it's sliding the zipper. It's hiding the zipper. Very good. Okay. Okay, our zipper's done. Okay. Oh, nice. It's just. We have a lock on these. These are the pre-made zippers, so they already have the lock. So you don't have to worry about losing your slide. And all the way up. Lock on both ends. Okay, we're all ready for the next step, which is the piping. We are having a 5/32 welt cord. We already have our zipper foot in there. We're good to go. We have ready to go. I'm going to fold it evenly around. I'll put it in here. I'm going to fold this as I go along, and look what I'm doing with my left hand, right-handed, so I'm taking my right hand and I'm pulling just a little bit. Now, people think they have a machine, even an electronic machine or a computerized machine or whatever, and they don't have to do any of the stuff that we had to do on the old Singers. But you really do have to go through the motions of an old Singer. Even though you have a machine that you think might be doing all the work for you, it isn't. You have to do the skill has to be there still. So look what I'm doing. I'm folding that, and there's another thing I'm doing that I want to point out. I'm actually angling just a little bit. I'm angling slightly this way. Okay, I'm angling probably at about a 3-degree or 4-degree angle this way. Okay. Now why am I doing that? So I get that stitch tight around the piping. Okay. So if you get good at this, you can really scream along and watch this. Get prepped. Now, people think they have to be perfect with this, and you know, you don't. It's a salvage that's in the. It depends on the fabric too. A heavier fabric, you don't have to be super careful in the cutting process. So I'm just moving right along. All the things that I'm doing just to, you know, for you beginners, you're going to have to really slow this down. I've been doing this for 40 years, so I have a little speed, which I think is essential if you're going to be doing this, all you people who are going to do this for a living. You do have to get speed, but that comes with time. It comes with practice. I wouldn't be worried too much about it. You will get it. Just the more that you have to keep doing the work. Okay, let's get this baby done. Hopefully it's moving out of bother. Get the whole thing done. So that's the 140-inch piece, one of them. Let's just put that aside, grab the other one. Hopefully we won't run out of bobbin. Get this one done. I like the way that, I'm going to extend the stitch just a little bit more to get a little faster. Great, watch this. Motor along here. See how I'm twisting? See how all my fingers are working and my hands working back here? I'm getting the piping that I need ready at the same time the machine's working. There's a lot going on here. So make sure we get it in there. Make sure we leave a lot of plans on each side. There we go. Okay, I ran out of bobbin. Okay, that's no problem. Let's just show you how to place the bobbin. Quickly place the bobbin. Maybe we'll do a YouTube tutorial just on the machine at some point, and how to load the bobbin and how to properly thread and little tips on maintenance and things like that. Let me just. So I got it in there, I gotta get this. Okay. So what's really important when you're cutting cushions to a piece, custom cut, the piece has to be on the floor. And it's uncomfortable, yeah, but when you're up on the set of horses, listen to me, this is the best tip I'm probably going to have ever for you, if you're doing this professionally, if you're getting into this. If you have it up on the horses and you cut the cushion, I can guarantee your cushion's always going to end up being bigger than it is, because you can't get the right angle on looking down at it. You really have to be looking down at what you're. I'm going to be marking this with chalk. Okay, so the front edge is easy. The front edge, we're just going to let it dangle a ½ of an inch over the edge, okay? So it's the back that can be hard, because things angle back. Your arms angle this way and your back angles this way. It's about a 12 to 15 degree angle. And that's usually about what people do. They go inside, they don't get the proper cut. So enough of that. So I'm going to just get this, it's right along here, nestled nicely up in here. And I'm going to watch what I do. I'm going to get up, and I'm going to get a bird's eye view straight down on this. And you know, I'm not going to say it's easy. It isn't, because I have on this one here, I have a funny little straight angle over here, because this is tufted. There's one spot over there that I want to get that. It's kind of like an angle, which usually isn't there on non-tufted pieces. I don't know if you saw that, but it's right in this area. It's like a straightaway here, instead of just being curved along with the back. It's not a curve, it's a straightaway. So that's as simple as that. I already have it, by the way, to show you that the front cushion, I had that on there. So let's go to the table now and show you how to cut this. It's a ½ of an inch seam, really. So a ½ of an inch from my chalk line. And this part, I'm gonna go straight. That's a custom cushion. And then I'm going to go all the way to the back. The front's already cut, really. It's a ½ of an inch seam overhang, as you remembered. And then a little this way. So custom upholstery cushions are not usually symmetrical. However, what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold this and see if I'm really off on this. Not too bad, but if I found that I was really off, like I would cut the difference. I would try to make it look a little bit more symmetrical. I mean, that looks really good, and it's custom. It's going to fit on the top. The top is going to be better than the bottom. Okay. Actually, I just saw a mistake I made. I'm going to fix this just for you all at home. I have this. I did grab the bottom. I'm just going to cross that out and put top. Because technically this is cut to the top, and it will fit better on the top than it will when you reverse the cushion for later on for the client. You know, sometimes I even explain that to a client. Okay, so now let's put our piping on. So This is the bottom side of my cushion. What we're simply going to do is face to face. The top goes on here. Line up our front, which is really straight, and cut this all the way around. We got identical ones. I'm going to put the bottom aside for now, and I'm going to take the top over to the machine and sew the piping. So I'm going to fold the top cover, and I'm going to get a small notch on the back side of the cushion in the center. Simply fold the fabric and just a small notch. You don't want to extend that notch more than 1/2 of an inch because that's your seam. Okay, so I know where to start my piping. Okay, I'm going to put that on there. At the same time, I have a bobbin that I need to start going. So we need to pay attention to the bobbin. Sometimes the bobbin doesn't shut off, so we have to adjust that actually. So I'm going to line up to have a little bit more to the top side of that notch. So we're going to have to piece that, and I'm going to start sewing this side of the notch because we need a little room to work when we go to piece it. Okay, now I'm going to start my bobbin over there. Cut that off. So I'm going to be my 1/2 of an inch seam. Now here's where, experience, I can go right along here, but I just want to show you that I'm looking, I have to lift it up to see where I am in relation to the edge. And my seam is 1/2 of an inch, okay? And in your mind's eye, you need to get 1/2 of an inch in your mind's eye. You can't use your machine really to line that up. Unless you really want to pay attention and take it, maybe for beginners, I would advise you to do this. Cut your piping so that your salvage is exactly 1/2 of an inch. Like you could cut this down to 1/2 of an inch, and you can use that as a reference. But I think as you go along, you need to be able to lift. You disregard this. Lift and look. Lift and so look to see where the reference is, where the stitch goes. I know that that's going to take some practice. I would advise you to practice that. Okay, now when you get to a curve like this, you may have to cut little notches in just to ease it around. Okay. I want to make a point about this. I did cut an angle cut, but I'm not treating this, this is like a straight away, but I'm not treating this as like a corner, okay? I'll explain that when we get to an actual crown. This is really not a corner. I'll show you what I mean. I can just kind of glide through that. But we still have our angle. I don't know if you follow that. It's not big enough to do what I'm about to do on this front edge. Okay, here we go. Just check the machine once in a while to make sure that it's sewing for you. And I'm going to tighten my stitch up just a little bit. I had it at 3 for the piping. Okay, now I'm going to put a little cut in the corner here, and I'm going to sew it right to the 1/2 of an inch from the front. Plant my needle, pick up. You could do that with your knee or sometimes manually up here. I do both. And then turn your piping, lower the foot again, and continue sewing. I'm going to slow that down on the other side. I'll show you that on the other side. Notice how I'm doing this. So I'm not letting the machine do all my work for me. No machine will do that. You've got to do some work. So I'm holding the back and I'm giving a little tension to the back, and I'm lining it up at the front at the same time. I don't want any puckering, that's why I do that. Okay, now I'm going to slow this down here. I'm going to bring this down to show you, okay? I'm going to go right, I'm going to put a notch in the fabric, and I'm going to go slowing my foot down. Some people can get this timed just right. I almost did it. Stop, lift up your foot, turn your fabric, turn the piping, get that piping in there, corner, and then continue sewing. Okay, bring this out of my way again. Alrighty, here we go. Okay, again, this you need to, I'm going to trim this down a little bit. I think I oversized that a little bit. Never too late to trim, and then make little cuts here to get it around this curve. Okay. A piece of thread hanging up. Need another cut here. was really generous with my piping. Okay, so I'm going to extend this way. I'm going to give myself a few inches, and this way. So there's my notch. I'm going to get focused in on here. Okay, so I'm going to cut my piping beyond this way, above the notch, about an inch. Okay, and then this one I'm going to cut down to about 2 inches beyond. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut out the thread on the top one, like so, to this point, okay? A little bit beyond actually would be good. And then I'm going to cut the piping so that the piping only, it comes butts. It butts. You don't want extra. Okay, and then I'm going to fold this like so. And then I'm going to put this in like so. I'm going to cut this just a little bit more. Be careful when you do that. And let's just see how this goes. Very good, look at that. Nice. Okay, we're going to sew the piping on the other one, and then we're going to do the boxing next. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we had to extend our boxing because the zipper got smaller because we couldn't use the old zipper, so we changed a little bit. So I'm going to piece on the boxing. I'm going to piece the boxing now. I just add more than what I need, like 25 inches on each end. It's just a little surprise that the zipper couldn't come off easy. I wasn't happy with the flange. I thought the flange was going to be jeopardized, so that's not good. So you can reuse as much as you can within reason. Okay, so I have the boxing the length that I want with my zipper, which is smaller. So I'm going to put the cushion the top of the cushion down. Just piece this, and I'm going to put my zipper. I'm going to line my zipper up. Don't have to go crazy with this. If you want to notch this and line it up here, that's fine. But I don't want to sew all the way down either. I'm just going to leave the ends open a little bit. I'm going to sew believe it or not, I'm going to put my zipper on first on the back. And I have the top of the zipper to the top of the boxing, just for good habit. It won't make a difference on this fabric if it was upside down, but I want to develop good habits for you. If it were velvet, it would matter. Okay, it's hopefully the machine doesn't break. Okay, we're at the capacity of this machine, believe it or not. This is a heavy fabric. So when I'm riding across that piece where I pieced it, I'm a little nervous, but it's a great machine, it's juicy. Okay, so I'm going to stop right about there. And because I don't have anything to match on the front, otherwise if I had something to match on the front, I would be starting in the middle of the front, but I don't have to do that with this. I'm going to start right off, believe it or not. I'm going to start my pocket. I'm going to put a pocket right here. That's only because of this fabric. This is the top. That's the top. And just going to see where I'm at on the other side with that piece. So I'm very generous with this extra piece. I'm probably only going to need one seam on one side. So here we go. Make sure I got my top going here. Start with my pocket. I got about a 2-inch fold back so that my zipper is going to slide underneath there nicely. My slide, I mean, right? I'm just going to show you this. Hold on a second, let me just get this on. So my slide is going to be behind the pocket, okay? That's important because slides are left with, in the machine process of the slides, they're left with on one side, two prongs that are sharp. So you want it in the pocket. It's important to do that. Okay, now this side of the cushion is easy to see because it's the other side that you're going to have to, it's a little harder to do on the other side, and you'll see why in a minute. But as far as your 1/2 inch seam goes. So I'm just going along with my 1/2 inch seam. I'm very aware of where my foot is against the piping. I'm actually angling a little bit so that it's tight in there. I'm going to make up the difference. I'm going to fold this over like so. I fold both ends of the seam. And get to the corner. Now you're working blind. You have to kind of get a good feel for this. My needle's right at the corner, and I'm turning the fabric. Okay, and I gave it a little. Did you see that? I gave it a little nudge around the piping. You don't want to ride. You have to be aware where your piping is at the corner. You don't want to ride over your corner. Okay, and again, look what I'm doing now. I'm getting my fabric squared up, and I'm kind of coaxing the back. I'm giving a little bit of a pull just so that there's no pull marks. My fabric, this fabric's awesome. It's awesome in the different ways. It's awesome. It sews awesome, and it doesn't have to be matched. I actually took the seat in the deck, and when I folded it, as you saw earlier, I couldn't even tell if I couldn't tell if it was matched or not, even with that. So it doesn't matter. Now you have to make that determination. Each person who's upholstering has to make the determination on the fabric if they're gonna take the time to seam to center. I felt like, because it's so, I just couldn't see a real center point on my stripe, that I didn't have to worry about it. Okay, so here we go. And that's a judgment call a lot of times. It's up to you. You're the professional, you're the person doing it for yourself. You have to make that determination. Okay, so I have plenty of fabric. I only needed to piece it on one side, so I'm going to just cut this off. Alright, so there we go. Get a good sense of that piping underneath, because you don't want to ride over the piping. It's kind of a pain when you do. You have to undo the... Okay, I'm just going to get this pocket sewn first. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back. I have two sides on each side. Sometimes I'll do that. Sometimes I'll piece it. I thought it would be good with two pockets on each side, because the fabric does take that well. So okay, so I'm done with the top of the cushion. So now we're going to do the bottom. Just want to show you too that we incorporated the ties. Okay. So what I did was I just opened up a little bit here, and I inserted the tie. And then we need to put our slides on before we forget. Sometimes we forget, and then we do the whole cushion. It's easy to open it up, but it's better to put the slide on, the ring on first. Let's do the other side. Okay. Just pull all the way down so that it doesn't interfere. You don't want metal underneath a needle on your machine, that's for sure. I'll just put it all the way down. So, we're going to line up our bottom of the cushion to the top of the cushion. We're on the bottom of the cushion now. And I want to start on a side that is easier, which is this side for me, as you're looking at the cushion, the right side of the cushion. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold this neatly to get my corner on the bottom, a little notch, so that I can line it up with the corner here nicely. And then I'm going to go about 3 inches back. I'm going to start sewing. And I'm going to go right to the corner. I'm going to turn my cover and start sewing the front. And that's my 1/2 inch seam. Always being aware of my cover on the bottom, making sure that I'm not doubling over or something. As I go along, this cushion gets easier because it starts to get together a little bit. Not so much cover to worry about flopping around on you. Now before I get too close to my corner on the other side, I'm going to notch this. Then I'm going to test to see where I'm at. Okay, I'm a little bit beyond on my corner here, so what I'm going to do is pull the bottom a little tighter as I sew. And the only reason I can do this again is because the fabric allows me to do this. Some fabrics don't allow you to this technique, starting on one end and working all the way to the other end. A lot of times you have to start in the middle. Okay, so this is lining up really good now. The corner, it's cornered up really nicely. So I'm going to like this, plant the cushion, plant the needle, pull it around. Okay, now I need to make sure that as I go along here, I'm going to keep sewing, I have my tie that I want to make sure the ring's on there, which it is, and that I'm not pulling this too tight so that it distorts the top and that I'm straight on there. I have more than enough. So right over that. Okay, I'm gonna take the selvage down, spread my selvage. My pocket, so what I want to do is make sure that it's straight. Sew the pocket first. Continue with my zipper, why not? Actually, you know, at this point I think it might be better to go to the other side. Now this is where cushion for beginners especially gets a little trickier because you have to work from the top here. Okay. So now I need to get my, be aware of my tie. Actually, you can see this better now. There it is right here. I'm going to make sure that I'm not pulling that too tight. And now, so you need to make a reference to that 1/2 of an inch now. You can't rely on the edge of your fabric anyhow, even if you took care of cutting it. I mean, you have to look. See what I'm doing? I'm flying over that. I'm looking. 1/2 inch, looking, got my 1/2 inch. Notice how I'm not going as fast or as long with this side because you have to be a little bit more careful. You're working more blind on this side. Okay, so just going to flip that up, get this straight, this way. I just sewed my pocket. Now, undo that. Now I'm going to do my zipper. I just think it's safer just to, you know, even it up to this point with the sewing, and now we just have to worry about the zipper. Okay, so just going to make sure that the zipper's coming down straight. A lot of fabric now folded up here, so let's hope that the machine, the needle doesn't break. And it doesn't break, that's good. Make sure we got, hopefully we'll be able to finish this on this bobbin, this cushion. We're just about, I can almost feel that we're almost near the end of that bobbin that we replaced. Just get a feel for these things really. Almost done sewing the cushion, and then I'm going to show you how to stuff the cushion. It's always a rewarding point of the job when you have the cushion done and filled and put it on the, hopefully it fits fine. So here's our cushion done. What I do is I reversed it. I want to just lay it on here just to see how it's going to look before I stuff it. I'm going to like it. I have the top up, so I'm going to go over to the table now, put the zipper towards you. We're going to undo the other one now, because the filling on this, I have to tell you something about the filling on this guy, this Baker furniture. It's absolutely premium. It's got foam core, and it's got a beautiful wrap it down and feather around it. You know, a cushion like this new would cost about $400, And you know, my client, for those who want to do it professionally, I think honesty is the best policy. I could have sold her a new cushion, told her that there was something wrong with this, but that's not my style and shouldn't be yours. But she's thrilled that she has this type of cushion and she can reuse it. There's nothing wrong with this at all, at all. So now I'm going to fill it. I have my zipper face towards me. The zipper is open. I got my slides. My slide is to the. No, you can note to see where your slide is if you want. Let's see, my slide. Sometimes it's to the right. Okay, it's actually good for me. So when I put this in, it's easier to, as a right-handed person, working from right to the left, and you'll see in a minute why. So normally at the factory, they have a machine to stuff cushions. Unfortunately, we don't have machines that big, and usually in any custom upholstery shop, even a mid-size, you don't have a machine. You are the machine when you're stuffing cushions. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, I'm going to fold it in half. Only one person can stuff a cushion. You can't have two people because you're pulling it each at a different angle and you're going to pop your zipper. Don't do that. So you need to get used to filling your own cushions. Find some people tie strings around here to hold it if you can't do what I'm doing, or if you can't hold it with one hand. But look at it. I just want to place it inside here. Trying not to put too much. I have it folded and I'm trying to put it inside without putting too much stress on your zipper. So I'm going to fold it and turn it like so. Get it worked in there. There we go. Try to unfold it inside the cushion. Then I'm working my corners. Trying to take the top of the cushion corner on that corner, and then on the other side, I'm going to flip it. And then I'm going to corner that. I'll corner the cushion. I'll corner this. I'm going to line up trying to pull it this way, trying to get my cover inside there to be where the border is, the border of the cushion with the border of my cover. Flip it over. Take my salvage and put my salvage down on the boxing side of the cushion. It's going to look much better when you do that. Optional is to fill your corners out with Dacron. I haven't determined that yet. Let's just see. Let's just take a look at the front of this cushion. Oh wow, I'm liking that. Wow. Not bad, huh, Pat? Okay, now I'm going to close it up because this cushion just fit in like a glove. Fabric's working for me. I love it when everything works together. Not everything works so well. You need to work it a little bit more. You know, by filling out the corners with Dacron, not cotton. I'm taking my slide, which is way in here. And then you need some pressure on the back just to push it. I'm pushing the filling in at the same time. I don't want my slide to catch on the nice muslin cover, so I'm pushing it in a little bit, going to the other side, putting my slide in, working my piping a little bit more, turning it just to see what it looks like on this side. I think I'm ready to fit this onto the. Okay, so we're all set to throw it on, see how it looks. Custom cushion. I do want to point something out to you. I'm going to clip it down. Clip it down here. Okay. What I want to point out to you is how the outside arms flare out and the outside back flares out. So what I do is I cut this so that it fits more to the bottom of the cushion. And the reason we did that, actually we split the difference a little bit, is so that when you reverse it, you have a same looking cushion. The cushion's going to look the same. I don't know if you followed that, but if you cut it to the top of the angle, the cushion won't fit. So this has a real flare to it. So you're going to see just a little gap over here. By the way, when people sit down on this, it's going to spread out nicely. So that's experience, folks. When you saw me cutting it out, I was cutting to the base of that angle, though. Keep that in mind. And that's it. So the next step is going to be the skirt, and we're done. We're ready to call the client to get it out of here.